Eichel, the serious neck injury and surgery that he had. It looks like Eichel just kind of...
You guys are hot about 10 seconds.
Dropped down while carrying the puck, and that set up the opportunity for Tkachuk to throw the hit. Never saw him there, Jonesy.
Yeah, there was a scuffle that broke out after Matthew Tkachuk levels Jack Eichel on the ice there. That courtesy of TNT. Joining us now. Talk some puck, Steve Peters. Joins us. You can follow him on Twitter at SPetersHockey and go PHNX. And he joins us now on the right to the guest line. Was that a clean hit on Jack Eichel?
Yeah, you know what? I understand people want to get headshots out of the game. The reality is Eichel trips, he toe picks, which puts his head at a lower level. It would have been a clean hit if not for Jack Eichel falling. I don't have a problem with the hit at all. It's a clean hit. His arms are down. He doesn't leave his feet. It's a clean hit. It's unfortunate that Jack Eichel was falling and he took such a hard impact to his head. But it's a clean hit.
Okay, we got it down. Good. I just want to get that on the record. All right, Coach Peters has got it as clean hit. All right, Golden Knights, are they going to be celebrating in South Beach, or are they going to be coming back to play another game in Vegas after 2 down there?
Well, first of all, don't listen to me because I've been wrong all the way along on this one. I tell you what, the Florida Panthers, in the last round, they had won 11 of 12 games. They were on fire. Their goaltender was hot. Their offense was getting to the net. And then they had a 9-day break. They cooled off. And I tell you what, the Vegas Golden Knights playing those extra games against Dallas, when you look back at this, is probably going to be the big difference in their jump start in the first 2 games at home. I do think we will see better from Florida at home. I do like the Florida Panthers tonight in Game 3. I think it's going to be tight. Bobrovsky has to be better. He has to be the best player on the ice for both teams. If he is not, this may be over in 4. But if he plays like he did in the last round in the Eastern Conference Finals against Carolina, not only will this be going back to Vegas for games 5 and 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it'll be going back there for 7. 5 back to Miami for 6, and I think it could go 7. That's how evenly matched these teams are when Florida is playing at their best, and they have yet to do that in this series.
I'm with you on that, Coach, 100%. But my question is, how good is Vegas? Are they that much better than Florida, or does it just the score indicate that they're that much better than Florida?
Well, one of the things with Vegas, and people aren't talking about it enough, is how well that team defends. This is a team that didn't have a player in the top 50 in scoring in the regular season. They don't have a 30-goal scorer. They don't have that dynamic player. I know Eichel is a number 2 draft pick overall, and he's a good player, but they didn't have anybody that carried the team offensively throughout the season, and for that matter, throughout playoffs. This is a very even 4-line team, but they defend extremely well. When you talk about Aiden Hill, and his goaltending has been elite, he only has to make the first save because the defense is there to clean up the mess, and they're not giving up second chance opportunities, rebounds, tips, screens. Their defending has been so much better than what their opponents have done, both in the Dallas series and now in the Florida series. But that's been a key that people aren't focusing on enough. Is they are scoring, and they are a good offensive team, but this team is built to defend, and they're defending better than any team in this year's playoffs.
Well, I think the one thing you talk about, Steve, is how they just kept coming at Florida and coming at them. And even in that third period, it's like they found another gear to score those 3 extra goals, even though they're up 4-0 going into that last period. Is it just that we're not giving enough credit to all the lines that this Golden Knights team has?
Yeah, I think you're spreading out the offense. You talk about Eichel, you talk about Marchessault, Stevenson, Stone, Barbashev, Carlson, and literally the list goes on, and you don't know who it's going to be tonight. Like it might be Amadio tonight. It might be a 4th-line player. They are so deep that you can't defend everyone. And the other part of this series, too, that I think got away from Florida a little bit, you started with the Tkachuk hit, but this team isn't built on toughness. Florida can play tough. Matthew Tkachuk is a physical player, and he plays hard. But this team is known for their speed and their ability to get through all 3 zones quickly. And right now, the focus in the first 2 games has been on hitting and physicality. And what that has done, it's slowed the team down, and it's put them in the penalty box way too often. This team is not built to play that way. This isn't what they're known for. They're known for speed. They've got to get away from the physicality. You can be physical and make sure you send a message on the ice, but you have to get back that speed game. And I tell you what, the Florida Panthers have not had that through the first 2 games of this series.
All right, I'm real curious about Florida. They were the last team to qualify to get in. Can you remember a team which was last to qualify to be in a position of playing in the Stanley Cup Finals?
Can I add, Steve?
I can.
Let me add something. Would you consider them a Cinderella story if they come back and win this?
Good.
2 thoughts. Jimmy B, by the way, I worked for the Coyotes in 2012 when the LA Kings got in on the last day,
you're right.
finished last, and hoisted the Stanley Cup and whooped up on the Coyotes in the Western Final. So the answer is yes, it's happened. But with this Florida team, there's something interesting. This team won the President's Trophy a year ago. This is not a team that limped in and struggled. They had injury problems at the beginning of the season. Their goaltending struggled throughout the season. This is a really, really good hockey team. They have offensive weapons. The trade for Tkachuk, him having his career year in Florida this year, it's a good hockey team. They just had moments this season where they just never put everything together. They had a new coach this season. I think that took them a while to gel. But right now, when you see this team get into the playoffs, this is a very good hockey team. There's no, it's not a fluke. It's not a joke that this team is in. They were one of the premier teams a year ago, and I think this is the team people expected in last season's playoffs. It's a good hockey team. But when you talk about one game that defines this whole playoff, the second to last game of the season, Chicago Blackhawks, worst team in the league, are playing Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh wins. Pittsburgh makes the playoffs. Florida is out. Pittsburgh loses at home to Chicago 5-2. Chicago ends up getting Bedard in the draft. Pittsburgh's out. Florida's in the finals.
Fixes it.
One meaningless game at the end of the year.
All right. The big news today, Shane Doan has left the Coyotes. He's going to work in the front office for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think there's 2 parts of this I look at, and the first one that comes to mind is Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews, his contract moving forward. Do you think that is one of the reasons, an Arizona native, 2 guys from Arizona, that Shane could play a part in making sure that the Toronto Maple Leafs do not lose him?
I guess if you put on the tinfoil hat, that may be part of it.
Okay.
Austin Matthews is a big part of that organization. I think Austin Matthews will find a way to stay in Toronto. I've said that along. I know people really want to see him in the desert, and I know people want to write that Hollywood script to get Austin Matthews back here. I'm just not sure that the timing is going to be right for a player like Austin Matthews to be a part of the Coyotes organization. And I hate to say that to people. Relationship with Shane Doan, and I think that if you can communicate with a star player like that, it only helps your organization and your top players. The truth is, Shane Doan is ready for an opportunity like this. He's groomed himself. He just won a gold medal with the World Championships with Team Canada. He's been a part of that management team
3 minutes
Canada for years now. He's worked with Brad Treliving before. And this is the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is the New York Yankees. This is the Dallas Cowboys. If you get a chance to go work, you go. And I know people I've been watching on Twitter. First of all, it hasn't been officially announced by either the Coyotes or Toronto, but I know it's out there from multiple sources. So until I hear from Shane, I won't say it's absolute truth, but this is no slight on the Coyotes organization. He has an opportunity to do something for Brad Treliving, who he knows in the past, at a great organization at the right time.
It's just for people.
No slight against the city.
Excuse me, Steve, hold on. People need to know. People don't know who Trey Living is. People need to know that he was with the Coyotes. He most recently was with Calgary. Now he just inked the deal with Toronto. So I think for some of the novice fans out there, they need to know that's a big connection.
2 minutes.
Yeah, and he was a big part of Don Maloney's staff. He was assistant general manager here. And you know what? He is a wonderful human being. And one thing I've said about hockey, it's such a small community, and everyone knows everyone, and you want to build an organization with good people. And Brad Treliving has just hired a good person. And Shane Doan That's the first box he checks. He's a good person.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. I'm disappointed and sad for this organization. I was hoping they would be able to find a place for him here in their management team. It didn't come to pass. And that's unfortunate, especially with the new arena. And there is no arena and no arena plan. You would like to have a face like Shane Doan in the community in front of local politicians, a recognizable name and face. So the timing is really unfortunate for the Coyotes.
Steve, last one. You live and breathe the Yotes. You just mentioned the arena. Anything new on your radar?
1 minute, 1 minute.
Well, the good news for all Coyote fans is just put the noise out for a little bit. I don't think the outside noise of moving to Salt Lake City or Houston or Quebec, I don't think that's imminent. We've heard from Gary Bettman and Bill Daly in the league's offices that they're committed to finding a solution here in Arizona. That won't last forever, but for right now, they're committed to it. They believe in the market and the TV market. They're playing at Mullet next season, 23-24. That's been announced by the league as well. That gives this franchise time. Do I think we will hear in the near future? Things never move fast enough. I wish we could say tomorrow they're going to announce sites. I believe you will hear in the next few weeks and less than a month that you will start to hear more concrete ideas on where those new locations will be. And I think there will be multiple ones in the surrounding areas to Phoenix of where this team may land. I don't think this team's moving. I think the league and the ownership group is committed to finding an answer in Arizona. We just need to stay tuned on where that solution is.
Steve, when's your next podcast?
We are going to talk about Shane Doan tomorrow at 11 o'clock live at gophnx.com, or just look at PHNX on the YouTube channel. It's all about Shane Doan, what this means to the organization, the future, and a little look back at his career.
So let me ask you, you were born in the United States, right?
I am. My
Okay.
dad's Canadian, but I was born in the U.S.
Okay, so it's organization, not organization, right? I mean, is that something when you work in hockey? It's
organization.
Organization, right? Is it organization?
Yeah.
Just where's the hard I in there?
From his dad.
Is that, okay, that's why. Okay.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Hey, my black trash can's out. Will you make sure you get that black trash can in for me, buddy?
So, Rock, I'll tell you this. The truth is, I just pulled up, and I was going to go get it before the show. It's not there. So unless someone stole it, I have a feeling our good top friend neighbor, Dave.
Yeah,
Dave beat me to it.
I
might be out, Rock.
He doesn't know. I haven't seen him in a while, but I saved him last week because it was out past the another half hour. He would have got a ticket, so I brought it in the other day. So
Oh no!
yeah, it's team effort in our neighborhood.
Well, you are the best.
Yes. Thank you, buddy. See
I
ya.
will. I'll keep an eye on everything.
That's Steve Peters, my great neighbor. I mean, it's important to have neighbors.
He's awesome.
Especially when you live in a city that has concrete walls around your house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to have, especially him and then a cop next to me, my good buddy Dave. So good stuff. Well, he's brought to you today by All City Towing. All City Towing, they continue to grow. They got a bunch of new vehicles, a huge fleet. Go to allcitytowing.com. They have current openings, full-time, part-time, all there at allcitytowing.com. Just search careers. That is the fastest way to apply, is online